Hey everybody! Can you hear me all right? My music's a little loud, so I'm going to turn that down. I have to have the fan on today, so I hope that that's not like too jarring. If it is, I can mess around with it, try and figure it out. How's everybody doing today? Hello, Phil. Hi, Jude. How's it going? And Mr. Fish, happy Monday. I hope that you all are doing well. I'm also doing well. Last week was a bit of an adventure. I spent most of last Sunday, Monday making an evacuation plan with my mom because there's been crazy forest fires and hundreds of people have lost their homes in the next town over. But thankfully, my mom's house is still around and she's all safe. So yeah, I mean, it's sad, but I'm also very thankful that my mom is all right. Hey Pezler, how's it going? Hi Rob. Hey Inquisitor. uh Last weekend I I guess this weekend past, I went to an RTT. This time it was in my local area, and it was just okay. Peach bubbly. Heck yes. I'm still waiting for PepsiCo to like come at me with a sponsorship because of the metric butt ton of bubbly that I drink. I have literally 4 cases of bubbly downstairs to choose from, all different flavors. So I went to an RTT and it was just okay. I dropped my Storm Boys, so like 3 of them need surgery now, and that's like the hard part about bringing orcs outside of the house, is that I always break something, or I leave them on a table and go for lunch and something breaks. So yeah, and now I'm sort of wondering like, do I want to keep bringing my orcs? Like, I probably do, but it's just like I'm having doubts, just because they explode when they get dropped. So my other option really is, I got 2 other options if I decide not to play orcs. So it'll be Custodes, which are good, but I find them incredibly boring to play. Or I bring out my guard again. But the guard needs so much work to bring it up to like legal, playable sort of form. So yeah, I'm not sure what I want to do there. I think what I have to do is I have to like make 2 lists, one for Custodes and one for guard, in a somewhat competitive mindset, and see how much work it's going to be to build those lists. So yeah. So yeah, I've got like a big decision to make, but I think that we're going to do that in the podcast. We're going to sit down and we're going to talk about what we're going to do going forward. Because as fun as it is to play that like Mimi orc list, it has really horrible matchups. Like I think I lost a game like 29-98 or something. So it does not deal with melee hordes. It just does not. So that's where I'm at in terms of gaming. I also joined a competitive league, so in my local area, so that'll be interesting. I've got to make this decision somewhat quickly. But what am I working on off screen? I'm working on some Counts as Beast Nega boys, so I'm working on their skin right now. So I've got 7 out of 10 up to this layer. This is the layer before. Gotta see a progression. So they go from this to this in one step, and then so this is basically glazed on fluorescent paints over the green to make them look like this. And we're gonna do this on stream with this big boy too, but because he's a mega armored Mech, he's got a bunch of other stuff I've got to do to him first before I start doing the skin. But eventually we will do this on him on stream. So yeah, that's what I'm doing right now, sort of in my off time, and then I've got to do. I may take a break from these because I'm in a I'm in a 40k league, competitive 40k league, and I'm in like a fun and fluffy Age of Sigmar league. So I've also got to paint like 10 Blade Geists this week. So yeah, I've got some stuff to do. Anyway, I'm always busy, always doing stuff. Let's get caught up with the chat here. Jude says, Nurgle invasion crossed over with the Nid invasion. Oh no, we got bed bugs. Oh no. Oh no, Jude, that sucks. Those are so hard to get rid of. Apparently you can get like, if you've got like a garage or something, you can actually get, it's like an atomizer with this like fog that kills bed bugs, but like you have to make sure that it's not in your actual house. Either that or you can fumigate your house, but geez, that sucks. Is your new podcast going to be available on Spotify? Yes, it is already on Spotify. So if you, and because now that there's 2 episodes, it should be easier to find. But if you just type in The Breast General, it should pop up. It's got a nice pink sort of logo picture. It should just pop straight up for you. Hey Tom, how's it going? I hope that you're well. Alright, so now I'm going to get started. So we are painting... Also, I'm in my yellow phase. I decided to try like a monochromatic like yellow, and I think yellow is my new favorite color to wear. Yellow and orange. Which are colors I always avoided as a child because, one, I was like a little bit gothy and angsty, but also like I just did not want to draw any attention to myself with bright colors, and now that I'm in my 30s, I don't care anymore. So I'm gonna wear the fun colors. Okay, so this is where we're at. He is primed. He's primed very well. I don't really see any, and so my beautiful husband primes my stuff for me, and so he knows that I like a good prime. So we're good to go. So what I like to do with my mega armored stuff is give it like a pretty heavy lead belcher dry brush, and this takes actually quite a bit of time to do it well. So we're gonna do lead belcher, and I'm using this makeup brush. I think I paid like $1 for this on Amazon. So we're just gonna go in. I've got like a nice newish pot also of lead belcher. So I'm gonna shake that up. Tom, you're painting Reavers. Awesome. I actually think that at some point I would like to do the Hounds of Markai, however you say it, for Space Wolves. Because they're like cool Space Wolf Reavers. Okay. So I'm just gonna go in, and like I said, this is like a pretty heavy dry brush, so I just want to distribute that paint pretty evenly on the bristles and then go pretty hard. Maybe a little bit less than that. But I actually want to distribute the paint, but I don't want it to be streaky. So that's why I'm using this technique rather than like using a small brush and painting it on. I find that metallic paints, most metallic paints, there are some exceptions, but like most metallic paints are, they have a transparent medium which makes brush strokes pretty visible on them. And also I just find that this is a bit of a faster technique for myself, so that's why I do this. I don't do this for my boys and things. I really only do this for like my orc vehicles, my orc walkers, and then anything that's like a mega armored anything. Just because there's so much metallic that um, this just ends up saving me time. I do have to end up painting the skin a lot, I guess a lot more carefully, but I'm okay with that. Matthew, I've got to finish painting some of the original Gearguts Tinbot bikers. Old as hell, but they are charming little guys. I actually really love the Tinbots, and we did do some updated ones recently too, but they still look like they kind of go with the overall vibe of the old ones. Rob says, I'm getting the last of my True Skill Terminators that I'm going to kit bash to Wolfguard Terminators tomorrow. Yeah. And like, all those old kits are so good for all those Wolfie bits. Highly recommend. I don't keep a lot of bits because I'm just not a kit basher. Like, I just want to, um, I usually just want to like build stuff just like the kit. However, I know that I'm gonna have to make some Primaris stuff Wolfie, so I have been keeping, sort of keeping like totems, standards, things like that. My white tack is a little bit old, so it needs to be. She needs to be reworked here so this guy can stick onto it. I haven't used this handle in a while. I haven't painted anything big in a while, honestly. Okay. Let's see if we can get our boy to stick on here now that we've got a little texture for him. I find sometimes you need like these little holes and stuff in your tack to sort of create a suction, but normally these guys I have to like pry off. So with this white tack, this is Uhu tack, which I find is a little bit stickier normally, but like I said, this tack's a bit old. Let's see if that will keep him on here. That feels a bit better. Oh, here we've got an issue here. I think that'll be okay. Okay. It's not all doom and gloom over here. I'm feeling an exhilarating rush from listening and watching some Mad Max Fury Road. That is one of my favorite movies. I also love how there's so little dialogue in that movie, but yet it's still amazing. Like, it's it's more than just an action movie to me, but obviously it is an action movie. Jeff says, stupid oversleeping making me miss the start of the stream. It didn't really miss anything, honestly. Just sort of me explaining what I have been painting off stream, which is counts as Beast Boys, and talking a little bit about um, like some list building issues that I'm gonna have to be addressing this week. I hate list building, by the way. Like, there are people who play a new list like literally every week, and I will play the same list over and over and over and over again, and like not really ever get bored of it. But right now my list is fun, but it has some very, very bad matchups. So I need to figure out a way that I can sort of deal with that. I hope I don't have to do like a wholesale change, but I feel like I do need to do like a wholesale change to my orc list if I decide to keep with the orcs. Are we slap chopping? Negative. I am just putting on um, the silver right now because I find it's easier to sort of heavy dry brush metallics. It just looks better than painting it on with a brush. And I can't really do this effectively if I've already painted like literally any other part of the model. So we are just slapping some silver on, and then I'm gonna throw the green base coat on his skin. I also hate list building. Thank you. But I can't play the same list twice. Ooh, oh no. Which means I usually end up writing a list for something the night before. Ooh, how do you have enough stuff painted to be able to do that? At least, so I understand if you can do that if you're not playing competitively, right? Because if you're not playing competitively, you just bring whatever you want. But in my local area, everybody's super competitive with zero chill. With a few exceptions, but most people have zero chill. Oh yeah, I've also like signed up with my team for a team tournament in I think November. So, dang. um that'll be a first for me, and it's um honestly, like everybody's like that is the best way to play Warhammer is to do a team tournament, and I always was like, "Oh, I'm not ever going to be good enough to be asked to like travel to a team tournament." So this is kind of cool that there's going to be like a little local one for me to try it out. Um Babe Pig in the City. Yeah, what's so funny? Pessler says, my Warhammer Plus payment came out today. Apparently, Canadians aren't allowed to sign up for it. They can only continue a subscription that they already have. Yeah, I actually had somebody, like, message me um, to be like, you should use your platform to bring, you know, more eyes to the subject. The Canadians can't get blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I don't care, though. They asked me when like I was trying to also make an evac plan for my mom, and I was like, I just cannot care about this in particular right now. But also I just don't care about Warhammer Plus. I don't have time to watch stuff. I don't like painting tutorials. I just like to do it on my own. Um, and yeah, I don't know. I was just like, this is not this is not something I care about. And, you know, normally I would try to make everybody happy and be like, okay, I'll do a post. But, you know, I feel like I'm in this place now where I'm just like, I just don't have the spoons to like worry about everything, you know? There's always something to be outraged about. Um, and I don't want to be outraged. I would rather put my focus into like positive things and things that really truly feed my soul and like, you know, sort of activating the community to make Canadians allowed to purchase Warhammer Plus is just like not high on my list of priorities. Oh, that just looks so much better than applying it sort of in the standard way with a brush. Look how shiny he is, you guys. He's so shiny. And chrome? Question mark? Okay. I think I am gonna put the green on his skin. So this will be something I have to be kind of careful on this part. And then I'm just gonna wash the whole thing in Nuln Oil. Normally I would wash the skin in Athonian Camo Shade, this one here. But because I'm on stream, I don't want to wait for the black wash to dry and then start on the skin. So I'm just going to wash everything black after this. Let's get caught up on the chat here. Jeff says, you assume I play with my shit painted. Oh, yeah. Some of the like competitive players in my area, also nobody else I don't think had a painted army at this RTT, which was like kind of disappointing. And like one of my opponents, the one that I actually like had a blowout with, like he just kicked the ever-loving shit out of me. He was like, well, you know, you could just like add stuff, you know? And I was like, no, but like I can't just add stuff that's not painted. He's like, well, yeah, you can. There's no painting requirements. And I was like, hey, no, no, I have painting requirements. Didn't they link the official army builder for 40k to a Warhammer Plus sub? They sure did. However, I also used the official Excel spreadsheet for army list building, so it's fine. I don't need it. Stenny. Hi, anyone know if you can play a list with like 500 points Ultramarines and 500 points Blood Angels and 1,000 points Deathwatch? Good question, Stenny. You probably have to just like you can play with whatever models you have, but you have to choose like one faction and then like one sub faction. So you don't get all of the points from everything. Or you don't get all of the like special rules. If you kind of soup stuff in, you'd only get like special rules for what you picked to be your sub faction. So like kind of yes, but kind of no. If you want to do it for just like fun and fluffy reasons, or because that's what your collection is, you can just like bring your models and just sort of sub them in for other things. But yeah, you have to basically choose one sub faction. Inquisitor says, you want to see some fun outrage? Go in a Discord server you're in that you know has some commission painters and say you prefer synthetic brushes. Oh my god. Yep. Because I do actually prefer synthetic brushes. And I just don't even want to talk to professional painters about brushes anymore. Like, they just cannot seem to understand that, like, it's a preference, straight up. Like, well, have you tried the sable brushes? Like, yeah. I also don't like, weasels being plucked for brushes. I don't like it. I don't like it. Pezler. Yes, they did, which means new Canadian players can't access the Battleforge part of the app. And it is pretty dumb. It should just be a separate thing that people can pay for. Like, I might even pay 99 cents for an army builder. Maybe. Alright, so now I'm going to go in with model color military green. And this is how I start all of my orc skin. So even this guy, he started off as this. So let's go. I'm just going to throw this in my palette. And I'm using a synthetic brush. This is a Amazon special that my beautiful friend Dano recommended that I get. So these are XDT 725 series. And they're really good. I like them. They are a Taklon, but they're not golden Taklon. So they're not like as stiff as golden Taklon or white Taklon, but they have nice spring back. Matthew says, I don't have the patience to do all the upkeep for proper brushes. So I'd rather just buy cheap brushes and abuse them until I need to buy new ones. Yep, and then I turn them into dry brushes. That's what I do. Goobertown Hobbies has a very good video about a comparison between natural and synthetic brushes, even putting them under a microscope. Leave it to the chemist to do that, right? Fantastic. Rob says, doesn't AOS have it that if you buy the battle tome, you get a code and can now use the app to build an army for that battle tome? They sure do. I still use the War Scroll builder through the browser though on Warhammer Community. It's still like my absolute favorite way to build an AOS list. So I love this military green because it just covers so nicely. So especially after I've already painted this metallic on top or underneath, then I can put this green on top and you can't even tell there's metallic there. It's just a nice, heavy pigmented, opaque paint. And I love it. Meeting time. Okay, Rob, enjoy your meeting. Hopefully it is an actual meeting that you needed to have and not something that could have been sent as an email. Oh, you can actually see me. Funny how that works. So, I've always really loved the model color line of Vallejo, and I sometimes struggled with the game color line, but apparently it's been reformulated, so I might have to go in and like buy a few colors and see what the difference is. Because although I really love the game color purples, the reds I have from them are not very good. So I would like to see if... That's the other thing. I'm looking for like good reds. So I might pick up some reds. We also got at my local game store, we got the AK acrylic line. And maybe I'll try that. I have a hard time like spending money on AK, um but we'll see. This little guy's got a little bionic eye. So cute. Is it bad, you guys, that I think that orcs are cute? Because, like, sometimes I just feel like my boss gets so disappointed when I'm like, oh, that guy's so cute. But they're cute, right? I mean, there's nothing saying that you can't be, like, big, ugly, green, and cute. And I always kind of like, the ugly factions. I vibe with ugly more than anything else. Moving! I'm doing okay. Yeah. It's nice to be like back on schedule um and yeah. You know what I actually did while my husband did move in is we bought Judgment, like the game. So now on top of all the other stuff that I do, I need to learn how to play Judgment because it looks so cool and it looks so different from any of the other stuff I'm currently playing, so I'm so excited. And then I told Tack, and Tack's like, come play with us. I'm like, okay, but I gotta learn how to play it first. Inquisitor says, game Bloody Red kinda sucks. I like games Scarlet Red a lot, though. I'll have to check that out. And I want to check out the new formula, because some of their paints are extremely shiny, and I find that a little difficult to work with. So hopefully. Um, Orcs are 100% cute. Thank you, Moomin. Thank you for seeing it my way. Like, look at his smiley face. He's just, like, living his best life. They kind of remind me of pugs. Pugs are cute in a weird sort of way. Totally. I love pugs. I need to learn how to play Judgment, too. Yeah, do it. We should play Judgment against each other. We could. We should. Matthew says, I quit World of Warcraft ages ago, but my proudest moment was when I saw someone else post a hideous outfit I made once. Uh, yes. I am also like a queen of hideous outfits. I love bright colors, like patterns that shouldn't go together, but I'm making them go together. Like this stuff, it's the stuff I love. I feel like I'm slowly drifting into like maximalist fashion category. Slowly. Like which I'm not angry about it. Okay. Hey Solar, how's it going? Mubin says, I hate to say it, but my favorite red is still Mephiston red. Yes, agreed, Mubin. Best red. I don't know why people like hate on all of Citadel paints. Like I feel like they're just like any other company. And like some of their paints are amazing and some of them just really are not. Like I still love their browns the most. And like when I go to paint browns, it's usually what I reach for is the Citadel ones. Okay. Now I gotta do a little bit on his arms and hands. Then we can go ahead and wash him. Movement says, I refuse to use any other red. It's so damn nice. I use it a lot. However, I would like some darker reds, and I would like some more blue-based reds, because I don't even own any. I literally don't own any blue-based reds. So, yeah. I had some, but I had an army painter one, and it was absolute trash. So I actually didn't even bother trying to make it work, and I just threw it out. So yeah, that's kind of like my mission, is to, because red is a color that I'm painting more with my Night Haunt, and it's a color that for the longest time I didn't really paint with at all. I would like to explore red a little bit more. Oh yeah, something else. So we, on Team Participant, which is my ITC Warhammer 40k team, we're actually getting jerseys made. So I've been actually dealing with a company I've dealt with before for roller derby jerseys, because they do men's and women's, and you can get the same design in a men's cut or a women's cut. So we're going with them, and we're doing like mock-ups and stuff, and we're getting so close. We're almost there to getting the final thing, so soon the team will have jerseys. And it, like, ever since I joined the team, it's something that they kind of always talked about, and I was like, well, why just talk about it? Like, if you want it, just do it. Do it. So I got us some sponsors, so if we have to pay anything, it'll just be shipping. And very excited. Very excited. And I think that they're going to look real nice. They are... So I'm the only one in the team that doesn't play Chaos. Everybody else plays... So we've got a World Eaters player, we've got a Death Guard player, and a Thousand Suns player. So our colors are green for Thousand Suns and Orcs. We've got Zinch-inspired turquoise, and we've got corn-inspired red. And those are the colors that we've got on our jersey, and white accents. And it's looking quite spiffy, if I may say so myself. And our logo is hilarious. It's literally a participant ribbon superimposed on a chaos star. So great. Inquisitor says, Mephiston Red is amazing. Want to know something heretical? I love Corax White. Citadel's greatest failing is that they stick with the little pots instead of dropper bottles, and that they're priced at GW rates. Otherwise, they're perfectly fine paints. Most of them. Some of them are not very good. But it's like literally all other companies are the same. You know? Some companies have more stinkers than others. Not naming any names. But brand loyalty, I think, in paint is weird. Like, just try all of the brands, because they all have good stuff. I can hear my dog being an absolute pest downstairs. My mother-in-law is here, and like, if people are not paying attention to him, he just turns into like a turd. He's just so social. He just wants to be included. Solar says, I'm an Army Painter fan, though I started with Reaper and P3. I want to try the Reaper paints so bad. I've heard such amazing things out of them, and they have like the old school style pot that like keeps your paint forever, but I can't find them anywhere. Like none of our distributors, like they carry them, but nothing is in stock. And it's like, ugh, I'm trying to get my hands on some, because I've heard amazing things. Thousand Suns are really cool looking. Yeah, ooh, Thousand Suns. Moomin, did your little chaosy ears like start tingling? Um, Jeff says, yeah, I've never understood people who are like, I only use Vallejo or whatever. It's dumb. I mean, people have their preferences, but like, if you never branch out, if you never try anything else, then you don't know what you're missing. You know? Like, I have Monument Hobbies, Vallejo, I have Citadel, I have a little bit of Army Painter, mostly just washes, but they also have my favorite black. Um, and there's other paints that I want to try. Like, I really, really want to try the Reaper paints. I really, really want to try Cuttlefish colors, you know? And, like, they'll all be good for different things. One thing I don't want to try, though, is oil paints. And I feel like there's a lot of people who are very pushy about oil paints. And I'm going to tell you why I don't want to try oil paints. One, because if something's trendy, that means that sometimes that the hype is too strong. And I'll be horribly disappointed. The other thing is I just don't want to have to buy a bunch of other stuff specifically for this. But, okay, there's two more. The other thing is that I don't want to wait for it to dry, because sometimes it can take 4 days for oil paints to dry. And I don't want that. That bugs me. I am like like when I want to paint something, I want to paint it. I don't want to wait for it to dry. But the main thing is that I'm so committed to my personal style that I've curated that, and I've not seen anything in oil painting that makes me feel like I could translate it and make it work for my style, right? Like, oil painting always just looks very realistic, very lived in, and I've only ever seen muted oil painting. I've not seen anything like very bright, which is kind of my thing. So, yeah, I get so like disappointed when people are like, "Oh, you should do this." And it's like, "Well, you don't know what I'm trying to achieve." Yeah, and like all the oil stuff I've seen just kind of like gives the same effect. I'm sure like if I experimented with it, I could probably figure out a way to make it work how how I would want it to match my personal style and my vision. But I'm army painting. I don't really have time to experiment. I need to get stuff done. It just needs to get done. Paint his little thumb here. Just hit it with a little bit of green. We're getting there. Um, let's see here. Man, you guys are... I gotta scroll way up. Matthew says, mostly have Reaper, but I also have plenty of Vallejo, a tiny bit of Army Painter, some Citadel, some Turbo Dork. Exactly. Mubin. I've tried Cuttlefish, and I have to say those are paints I won't use unless they are specifically for like showpieces and not an army. Yeah, I've heard that their formula is a lot different, so which is why I want to try them. Because from what I've seen, I think some of them I can actually apply to how I paint. So I really just want to try some. Jeff says there are a couple obscure brands I've managed to get my hands on that are really good. Coat d'Arms and Instar. Hard to get them though. Yeah, I've seen ads for both. I have not tried them. Inquisitor says, I understand one case of paint brand loyalty. It's Say Hi Paul. He uses only Citadel because he feels if he buys some of another range, he'll feel compelled to buy the full range. See, and I never feel that compulsion because, like, I know that there's just some colors that I'm not going to use, you know? Mubin says, it's strictly a personal decision, but I highly dislike using Zangar models in my 40k T-Suns. Is it because they're not like actual Thousand Suns, but they're demons, or what? Jeff says, I keep wanting to experiment with oil washes, but it's so messy, yes, and just feels like it's too much of a production. In terms of messy, it's funny you say that because they did like a beginning oil painting course at my local game store, and like one guy was so mad because he just had oils literally everywhere, like all over his clothes, and it never comes out. And like, if getting paint on your clothes is something you're really concerned about, you should wear an apron or like a smock or something. I keep saying that I'm gonna wear, because I have an apron, a really nice one I paid a lot of money for, which I use for baking. And I'm always like, well, maybe I should wear that while I paint, and then I just never do, and I just accept that all of my clothes are just going to have paint on them. Solar says, oil paint is fine, it's just another tool. It's great for grimdark, but folks are enthusiastic about shortcuts, which I totally understand, especially if you're an army painter. It's just like, I could see it if you're literally painting 2,000 points all at once. That makes sense to me, but I don't do that. Oh my gosh, I can paint a lot of models in one session, but 2,000 points all at once, I can't do it. Mubin says, the cuttlefish are definitely designed for layering glazing, which is what I like to do. I'd like to give a full test on a display model. Yeah, so especially like this orc skin is, once the wash is on, it's literally all glazing to get it back up to this level. So that's why I think that I would like them. They also have a new opaque line, which is interesting to me. I would like to try that too. And then Matthew says, I've gotten paint on a fair few shirts of mine. Yeah, almost all of my clothes have paint on them. I have like this beautiful purple dress and a beautiful blue floral dress, and they both just are covered in paint. And I just don't really care that much. Inquisitor says, I use the Tamiya panel liner enamel wash to recess shades on tanks because it gives it an obviously dark, oily look that works well with tanks. For sure. Like, I understand. Like, I'm not saying it's bad. It is definitely a great tool for those who like that look. But I just like my stuff to look clean. You know? I'm actually, like, kind of an organized person. I'm a little bit of a minimalist, which is funny because, so like I don't have much stuff, and my husband has lots of stuff. And yeah, so I guess I kind of just want stuff to like match my organized sort of vibe. I want it to look clean. But I also really like cell shading and all of that, and I just don't think that oils would help me achieve that cell shaded kind of look. At least nothing that I've seen screams out that they would like facilitate me in the creation of my vision. That's the other thing. Do you have a vision when you start painting something? Are you like, yeah, this is what I intend to try to create, even if it's just a vibe, even if it's just like a style, or do you just sort of paint in a like get it done kind of way? Or maybe you just paint in a like I want to be like the best technical miniature painter that I can be. Like what's your intent when you are painting? I'm always so curious. I talked about it a little bit here, and I actually recorded I was a guest on a podcast last week, so hopefully that's coming out this week. But my goal is always to like have my style, and I want to get to a place where if somebody is like scrolling their social media feed and they see something of mine that actually makes them think, oh, that looks like Tanya's work. Is that Tanya's work? And that's what I want. That's what I go into like almost everything with, that intention. I want to create Tanya's unique style. Let's see here. Mubin says that was my initial dislike on the cuttlefish. They didn't have an opaque or a base paint. Everything was pretty thin, translucent, so you needed to base with other paints first. Which they have now released that new opaque line. Jeff says, I just sort of put paint on the model and hope that it looks 85% or less awful. 85%, comma, or less awful. I'm usually painting to get things painted and camera ready 90% of the time these days. For sure. I just feel like my style just happens to kind of be camera ready, which is awesome. Matthew says, I can't picture things in my head, but I have a few styles I paint in depending on my armies. Mostly it's just to get it done, though. Solar says, I'm far more get her done kind of painting. I like mixing my own colors, but I discovered slap chop with inks 20 years ago, and it kept me in miniatures. Nice. Mubin's talking about aphantasia, which is really, really interesting. Inquisitor says, my goal is different depending on the mini characters. I'll go ham. Regular infantry are for the Cult of Dun, and vehicles I could add a little flair. Solar says, I almost gave up mini painting at War Machine Mark II. Is it just because it's too much, or... I actually feel like the War Machine models would really suit my paint style. As funny as that is, because I feel like they're kind of cartoony looking, which is my jam. Mubin says, I love talking about it because I have a very extreme case of it. I find it really interesting. Like, I sometimes will get like philosophical with things and be like, hey, is like the way that I perceive blue like the same as how other people perceive blue? Like the fact that we'll never really be able to get inside somebody else's head is really interesting to me. So hearing people try to like explain what's in their head is really interesting. The human brain is amazing. If I had unlimited funds, like if I was independently wealthy, I'd want to go back to school just forever to learn more about the human brain. So interesting. Jeff says War Machine models are actually a lot of fun to paint. It's a shame that the game is kind of not great right now. It goes through waves. I remember when it was more popular than Warhammer. I think I was in 7th edition. More people were playing it than Warhammer. Um, Matthew says, my case is less extreme than it could be. I can dream just fine with pictures, but when I'm conscious, I cannot do it. Interesting. Oh, this is so interesting. Solar says, I was never really good at putting colors on things, and my game group back then had all gone to art school. 2 illustrators, 1 graphic designer, 1 canvas painter, and me, the guy that builds stuff. But that's a beautiful thing, Solar, that you all bring different skills to the table. I think it only becomes an issue when like people sort of like place judgment or place importance on one aspect over the other. Like for me, I know that like most people in my local area just don't care about painting. Um, I mean, I just get so excited when they try or when they finish something. Like that just is so great to me. I just love that. And I love sharing in the excitement of a finished project. You know, because I know that for some people it's really a slog to actually paint stuff. You know, like it's not a relaxing time. It's not a fun time at all. The most heartbreaking thing for me is like when people don't like painting but they're really good at it. Like when it's just an incredible slog for them, but you can see that like with just a little bit of practice, they'd be an absolutely mind-blowing painter. That's always kind of like sad for me, but I get it. It's not for everyone. But playing with painted armies is just the best. Like when the terrain is nice and the armies are painted to whatever standard, but just painted. Ugh, great. The only thing that makes it better than that is like if your opponent can joke and laugh with you, then it's absolutely perfect. Okay. I'm just checking to make sure that I didn't miss any parts. Aha, I did. Missed a part. Because I hate going back and like trying to fix stuff, so I do quite often spend a lot of time just checking. Also making sure that the opacity is where I want it to be, because this is painting over silver, so I don't really want that to poke through. And more so on like the raised edges, because we're going to be washing this whole thing black. A little spot in here that I missed. Matthew says, my dreams fade really quickly after I wake up too. Oh, I mostly never remember my dreams. The only time I remember them is when they are absolutely terrifying, and I just kind of feel ripped off. Terrifying, or the dreams I remember are dreams, they're super vivid, of me roller skating, because that's used to be my absolute favorite thing to do. So like roller skating outside or playing roller derby and just like having a blast and feeling like the wind on my face, and like it's just a whole tactile experience in those dreams. And then I wake up and I could cry because it's something that I'll never really get to experience again. Okay, so, oops, I want to do one more coat on this arm in here. Just one more, just to make sure on the upper areas that it's super pigmented. That looks pretty good, actually. A little bit back here. Okay. So I'm going to let that dry a little bit. Then I'm going to throw this, oops, do a little bit more on these fingertips here. It's too wet, that paint. Let's try again. Okay. So I'm going to let that dry a little bit. Then I'm going to dump a ton of Nuln Oil on this guy. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? Not Nuln Oil. I'm going to do... Where is she? Right here. I got this one. It's very matte. It's nice. This Black Wash by Proacryl. Needs a good shake, because I haven't used it in a while, but I'm going to use this one. Matthew says, I've been out of the Air Force for a decade now, but I still get nightmares where I'm still in, which are really weird because I kept my long hair. Oh, that is super weird. So it's like placing your current, it's not like it's not like a memory. It's like it's placing your current self into the past. I wonder if your brain is trying to tell you to like deal with some trauma that you had back then, and it's like saying you have the tools now to deal with that old trauma. Brains are funny like that. Okay. I need a bigger brush for this, and wash is sometimes hard on your brushes, so I'm going to use like an old beater. So I'm going to use this really well-used Rosemary & Co. Evergreen Pointed Round. Because, actually maybe I'll put this in my palette. I'm going to do this. Yeah, we'll do this instead. So I don't knock this over, because it doesn't quite fit in that, that little thingamajig I have. So, I know I'm going to need a lot. This is a big boy. So we'll start with that. We'll add more if we need more. Could be something like that. Maybe it's something like that. So I like to do kind of like the hard to reach places first, because I don't quite care as much if the wash pools in hard to reach places. But if you are sad that there's a change to the Nuln Oil consistency, this is, in my opinion, a really good dupe for it, for the old style. So yeah, I really enjoy this wash. Because I liked the old Nuln Oil because it just makes things look really kind of dirty and grimy, which I really love for bases. But it's also just a very dark, um, dark wash. And for my sort of high, what's the word I'm looking for? High contrast, kind of cell shaded style. I need that darkness, and I found that the new Nuln Oil doesn't really deposit as much pigment. Um, so yeah, I really like this as a stand-in for it. Mubin says, I actually haven't tried the new wash formulas. Oh, the new Citadel ones? They kind of remind me a little bit of like Army Painter washes, like almost a cross between a wash and a contrast paint. Because like I kind of like a little bit of a tea stain. It doesn't matter to me if it tea stains if like the pigment payoff is good. Um, and for metallics, like I kind of like a little bit of a tea stain. Just kind of gives it a bit more depth. And it doesn't matter if it tea stains on the green because we're going to be glazing a lot on top. So like, not a big deal. But yeah, like I think that the new formula for the washes, I think that it's a really good I think it'll be easier for like newer painters to use. Is what I think. But once you're so like once it's a tool that you use so much and then they change it, you're just like womp womp womp. It's like you got to look for new things to kind of get that same look. But this is so far the closest thing that I found to that old formula. I really like it. And so over top of the metallics, near the end, actually I might actually do it after the wash is dry. We'll see. I'm going to be dry brushing that lead belcher back on, but like a true dry brush, one that's very much a thinner than what I did at first. Like we're just going to be doing a highlight. So it's not. It doesn't matter if it actually looks better if the wash is thick. Solar says, do you find that all the orc box art is a hateful punch from GW with all the yellow? No, I think it looks cool. There's not like a lot of other factions that have a lot of yellow on them. So I like it. I like it. But we all know that blue is best when it comes to orcs. So hopefully we get some like cool Death Skulls type rules in a sub-faction attachment, detachment. That'll make me super happy. Which I do expect that to happen. Solar says blue is best. Blue is best. It's lucky, you know? They get the best loot. Just like to do, you know, a look around, make sure I didn't miss anything. And it's easier to do that, like, so if you wash in sections, it's easier to do that kind of like as you go, rather than trying to touch up sections after the fact. Because depositing more color on top is just makes the areas way more darker than other areas. Need a little bit more. Lubin, okay, back. Had to wander away from my desk for a moment. Welcome back. Okay. I've also kind of felt like I've been getting sick. But it's like it's not manifesting itself. Like it's at that annoying stage where it's like I'm kind of congested. Is it from smoke? Or is it from something else? Just sort of sit here and wait to find out. My soundtrack got like real quiet all of a sudden, and I'm like, where's my tunes? Could use some hype music here. Mubin says, "Oh, Tanya, have you heard that Nurgle Snurgle's coming out to play on?" I have heard, and I may have been the one who, like, put those wheels into motion. So, I may have also heard that I'm going to be the one playing against her? Perhaps? Which makes me super excited because she is one of my favorite people, and I've never got to meet her in person. And I'm very excited to just hang out. Let's see. Matthew says, could be the smoke. I know earlier in the year when the wildfires were so bad that even down in New Jersey the skies were hazy, I felt the absolute crap when I went outside. Yeah, it's kind of just like our normal here. So, um, yeah, that very much could be it. This feels like a little bit different. Um, so I just kind of have to wait and see. So many of you may know, especially if you've been listening to the podcast, that I struggle with like memory issues and learning rules and stuff. So, I read some studies that show that like certain mushroom varieties like help your cognitive abilities. So I have been taking a lion's mane mushroom supplement, so I'm really excited to see if it actually just helps me be like less of a potato. Um, so let's see. But like studies are promising, so we'll see how it goes. Um, I would like to be less of a potato. Man, it just looks so much better when the wash goes on. It's like you can see all the details. Looks so good. Solar says I was sick for an entire week this month. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Summertime sickness is the worst too, because it's like, oh, I want to go out and do stuff. At least in the winter when you're sick, you're like, well, I don't want to go out and do stuff. It's cold. Well, it's not cold where you live, Solar, but it's cold where I live. And so it's always easier for me to deal with it. Summer, it's like, this is my time where I can actually go outside and do stuff. Um, Moobin says, oh my god, if that's the case, I'm gonna be so hype. That would be a fantastic showdown. I'm here for it. Then again, I'm always here at the studio. You are always there for it at the studio. Yeah. Yeah, it's funny because I just really want to play a game with my friend. Like, I don't care if it's a battle report or what. Like, I just think we're gonna have so much fun. I think she's gonna kick my butt. That's my prediction because I I have agreed that I will bring my orcs. And I don't know, with orcs, I just can't bring anything competitive because I have so many cool things that I love. And I'm like, I'm just going to bring Rule of Cool. So I think she's going to win, but I think that it's going to be really entertaining. It's my hope, anyway. That is my hope. And we'll see. Um, Solar says, I'm ultra hyped for next year's LVO. Nice. I'm buying ice cream and sorbet for so many of you. Yeah, I should probably like start saving money for that. Maybe I could stay with like the Red Path guys because they did an Airbnb and that was actually kind of fucking nice. Not gonna lie, like the house was cool. I got to hang out with them. So they sort of like hosted a little like um pizza party at their Airbnb in Las Vegas, and like it was so nice to just like chill and just relax and just talk. And yeah, I might even just do the friendly. I don't know if I have it in me to play like that many games, or maybe do the doubles. Oh yeah, because it's sold out. I can't even do the. I'd have to do the doubles or the friendly. I have to like consider it. Doubles would be more fun, and then it's only one day, so then I can like just socialize for the rest of the time. I can just socialize. Okay. Oh, I missed a spot here. Let's just double check. Do the old checkaroo. Right. I think he is covered in wash. So, that's where I'm going to leave it because he's going to have to dry. So I think next time, on next day's show, what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit him with that Lead Belcher dry brush just on the metallics, and then we will start doing the layers on the skin. I'll also probably end up doing his eye, because that's something I like to do after the wash is on. So we'll paint the eye, and then dry brush him, start doing the skin. The skin's going to be at least 2 sessions fully, plus the next week. So yeah, it's a process. That skin takes a long time, and then everything else sort of just comes together really quickly after. Let me get caught up on the chat, and then we will call it a day. So, Mubin says, I'm currently trying to convince Tack to send me to Warhammer World. That would be amazing. I would love to go to Warhammer World someday, but it's just, I don't think it's in the cards for me. Mubin says, we do have a second table set up downstairs now, so you could still game. We could. Mubin says, after this year and what happened with LVO and the studio getting sick, I hesitate to go to LVO. Yeah, you guys got real sick. I got sick too, but it didn't make me ill enough to like not walk or anything or work or like do stuff. I was just like 18 days of the sniffles. It was the longest sickness I've ever had. But it was just annoying. So, and it was annoying because it's like I still have symptoms, so I can't really do anything. It's just gonna sit around all the time. Oh, Tanya time is over. Tanya time is over. My dog is being a holy terror downstairs, so he needs to go for a walk. Solar says, I didn't realize it was the Rona. It was the Rona, and you guys were in rough shape over at PlayOn, I gotta say. Yeah, sorry that happened to you guys. And what else? What do I have going on? So I'm going to do another Warhammer 40k Explained video on Wednesday, but I haven't quite decided like what rule I want to cover. So if anybody has any requests for a Warhammer 40k Explained video, like you could shoot those to me, and I would appreciate that. What else? We are actually recording Forge the Narrative this week, and it's going to be a really fun one, especially for NIDS fans. So we're going to do that, and that'll be out on Saturday, I believe. And then I'm going to play some practice games tonight and record some of that for the podcast. I'm going to record with Alex for the podcast, which is going to be a fun one about like list changes and list building, I think. And then I'm going to start editing that together. So hopefully pray for me that I don't actually have any technical issues this time around, because it's been a nightmare every episode. But you can find the episodes on YouTube. You can also find them on like Spotify. I think that they're on Apple Podcasts. I clicked the button, so they should be up there. And like a whole bunch of different, like they should be on Audible and like everything. So if they're not, let me know because I did click the buttons. Towering and buildings with windows, maybe. I can look into it, but that is something that like literally every tournament that I've been to and every event that I've been to is handled differently. So yeah, I'll look into it. We can maybe do like a dive on rules as written and then sort of compare it to how people are actually playing it. That could be actually interesting. Um, and yeah, that's it. That's all I got for this week. Oh, I'm playing some Age of Sigmar games as well. Played one yesterday, Night Haunt versus Ideneth Deepkin, and I'm starting to remember how Night Haunt works. Um, so that's fun. So if you have any questions for me, the easiest way to get at me is through the Patreon Discord server. You can message me literally everywhere else, and I will get to you eventually, but I don't get notifications for anywhere because I get like a little bit addicted to social media. So like if I get notifications, I just pay attention to everything, and I shouldn't do that. So yeah, that is me this week. I hope that you all have a wonderful week. If you want to play games, I hope you get games in. If you want to paint minis, I hope that you can do that as well. And yeah, just have a wonderful week. And until next time, everybody, be nice and roll dice. Bye-bye.